In LA this week,
international passengers can now scan their way into LA. I'm Yana Kay. The details next.
I'm Anna Marcos. A community marches together to stop the violence on the streets of South LA. That's coming up.
Within the next several years, California is expected to have more than 4 million drivers aged 65 and older. But when is the right time to hand over the keys, if there is such a time? I'm Gil Reyes at a forum hosted by CHP senior volunteers like my friend here, Marlene, and I'll have that story next.
hello and welcome to LA This Week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. Some international passengers and American citizens going through U.S. Customs can now expect an easier entry thanks to new self-service kiosks at the Tom Bradley International Terminal. Yana Kay explains.
By using these new automated passport control kiosks at the Tom Bradley International Terminal, U.S. and Canadian citizens are able to cut the amount of time they spend with a Customs and Border Patrol officer.
It's nice, very nice. It's going to be a time saver and it was easy.
Airport and city officials gathered at the terminal recently to unveil 40 new kiosks, allowing travelers to electronically submit their customs declaration form and biographic information, reducing lines and processing times.
Our residents and visitors can be out the door faster. They can be, if they're visiting this town, spending money in our economy, or if they live here, they can be home that much quicker.
Single travelers can complete the entire process under 2 minutes, while a family of 3 can finish in about 4 minutes. On average, U.S. citizens are cutting their wait times by 18 minutes. The kiosks feature a touchscreen interface and are pretty easy to use. After you select your language and answer a few questions, all you have to do is slide in your passport and then follow the simple step-by-step instructions. The kiosks remove the paperwork part of the job for U.S. Customs agents, allowing them to focus primarily on verifying the purpose of travel.
In the second week, we almost processed 800 passengers in 1 hour on the 40 machines, so it's very exciting.
U.S. Customs and Border officials say these kiosks enhance the passenger experience while still maintaining the same level of security.
These kiosks interface with our law enforcement databases. It's the same as if you were in front of an officer at a booth. So again, there is no compromise to security.
Travelers using the kiosks will no longer have to fill out a paper customs declaration form. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
LAX officials are also planning to install the kiosks in Terminal 2, the airport's secondary international terminal. Some of the lowest paid hotel workers in our city can expect a big pay raise starting next July, but not everyone supports the pay hike. Gil Reyes brings us both sides of the debate.
On one side of the room, organized labor, sitting alongside yellow-shirted hotel workers in this packed city committee meeting. They say raising their wages will help boost LA's economy.
When they could provide basic living needs for their families, they're going to also spend that in their local communities.
But on the other side of the coin, business groups wearing suits and ties. They say previous pay hikes in LA and Long Beach forced hotels to cut staff.
These ordinances resulted in a pay increase and a loss of jobs. That's what our city can expect if this ordinance is passed.
The deal would raise the minimum wage at large hotels like the Ace Hotel in downtown Los Angeles to $15.37 an hour. Opponents of the measure criticized members of the LA City Council for what they called rushing the measure to a vote just 48 hours after an environmental impact report was released, weighing the pros and the cons.
We just need a little more time to make sure we make the right decision.
One of the questions is why target the hotel industry? Supporters say since the city of LA experienced record-breaking tourism in recent years, LA hotels can afford to pay workers more. But others aren't so sure. Citing 2008's wage increase at hotels near LAX, a Beacon economic study discovered layoffs soon followed.
Do we need to do something about wages in LA? Absolutely. Is this the appropriate solution? I'm not sure. I feel like we're aiming at the wrong target.
Still, the City Council's Economic Development Committee approved the pay increase to help families.
The majority of the hotel industry employees are women of color. 43% of them live, below the poverty line.
Sometimes you need to do just what you feel is right. And for me, this is right.
Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
That vote resulted in 12 council members supporting a living wage increase and 3 council members against it. The mayor has promised to sign it. In light of recent news on domestic violence and the NFL, city officials are raising awareness and encouraging Angelenos to work together to bring an end to this violence. Yana Kay reports.
This film, telling Amy's story, exposes something that usually happens behind closed doors: domestic violence. Here in Los Angeles, officials want to bring it out in the open. They say the number of family violence incidents continues to rise. Los Angeles City Attorney Mike Feuer and Los Angeles Police Chief Charlie Beck addressed how residents can work together to end domestic violence. But first, Feuer spoke directly to victims and survivors.
You are not alone. There is a team prepared to help you.
Feuer said that if you are a victim of domestic violence, call 911 immediately. Trained professionals are available to help. He said that his office has a prosecutor, victim specialist, and investigators working together.
To fight for the victim, to protect the victim, and to assure that we do everything possible. The chief mentioned something very important. There is a family often involved in this. Everything possible to be sensitive to the needs of that family.
Currently, the city attorney's office reviews 200 family violence cases a week. That translates to 11,000 cases each year. Chief Beck said that over the last decade, overall crime in the city has gone down, but the incidence of domestic violence has escalated by 18% this year alone.
Domestic violence doesn't occur in a vacuum. It is connected to spousal abuse. It is connected to child abuse. It is something that the neighbors become aware of. It is something that the schools become aware of. It is something that all of us can reach out, make a call, and make a difference.
Beck said that children who witness domestic violence are more likely to engage in the same type of behavior as adults. That's why the cycle needs to end now, and it begins by calling the police. Officials are also working on enforcing a law prohibiting domestic abusers from owning guns. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
The city attorney is also organizing a team of youth leaders later this year to discuss domestic violence. Anyone who is involved in a domestic abuse situation can call 1-800-978-3700 to get help. And whether it's domestic violence or street violence, hundreds of South LA residents say enough is enough. And in a show of solidarity, residents took to their streets side by side with LAPD officers to take back their neighborhoods. Here's Anna Marcos with more.
It's a community learning to come together with its different ethnicities and points of view. And it's clear at this rally and march in South LA that they are definitely together in fighting gang and gun violence on their streets.
We gathered here today to say no more. We're sick and tired and been sick and tired of our kids dying in the streets.
Peace isn't just for one day, okay?
And I haven't been this march because I just want to stop bullying, make people be friends.
If everybody comes to march or stops the violence, then we'll all have peace. That is why I am part of this march.
The Anti-Violence March is the brainchild of the Vermont Manchester Collaborative, a group of some 50 community groups along the South Vermont corridor, and they are teaming up with police.
We are not only interested in investigating homicide, we are very much interested in preventing homicide.
And I have tremendous hope in what has happened in the last 6 months in South LA. With the violence reduction, business comes in, jobs come in.
I was part of the problem, but I'm also part of the solution. I was a gang member out in the streets.
Some march for jobs, some march for better police protection, some march to get the community involved, while others are here just to honor their loved ones who they lost to gun violence.
This is my son, my baby, 16 years old. He got killed for gang violence. Boys trying to force him to a gang, and they killed him because he didn't want to gang bang.
Organizers are also asking city leaders for help in improving the community and bringing in more playgrounds and recreation programs.
The community is crying for help.
I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
The number of homicides has gone down in the area. Police cite the Jordan Downs housing development as a major success. It has not seen a single homicide in the last 3 years. Fire crews have finished mop-up operations and port business has resumed after a fire ravaged a San Pedro pier and warehouse. Ana Marcos has more on the aftermath of a blaze that could have caused critical damage to the port.
It's full steam ahead at the Catalina Freight Line, the company that brings Catalina Island its supplies. The crates of tomatoes and other necessities are moving again. But it was a different story last week when fire broke out at the Pasha terminal across the water. Luckily, it started after hours. By next morning, most businesses were reopened, even if a bit later than usual.
It could shut us down completely, of course, because we won't be able to get out.
But it took 2 days to contain the fire, and hundreds of workers were sent home, while the residents were asked to stay indoors due to poor air quality. Fireboats, choppers, and rescue divers fought the blaze from the ground, the air, and from underwater. The flames started in the wood beams under a wharf. The warehouse above it housed heavy steel products, and some fell through, making it very dangerous for rescue divers.
It's going to be very loud and very dark. Your visibility is going to be very low, so you have to use a lot of your instincts for diving to deploy these floats.
So it can be dangerous, huh?
Absolutely, because if the dock is deteriorating, we have stuff falling on us.
The fire may have been a small blip on the radar screen for most businesses here, but many know that a bigger blaze could have been devastating in an area that handles 40% of the nation's import cargo. Meanwhile, firefighters lost much of their diving equipment fighting the blaze.
We lost up to about close to $30,000, but the upscale on that is we kept the port open. They make millions of dollars here every day, and we stopped the fire from spreading.
So far, no estimates on fire damage or economic impact, but those who live and work here know it could have been a lot worse. I'm Ana Marcos for LA This Week.
And in This Week in Tweets, city leaders took to Twitter to thank fire officials for their quick action to put out the fire at the port. The mayor's own personal Twitter account, @Eric Garcetti, tweeted, "Congrats to LAFD and LAFD chief for incredible work at the port tonight. Due to their heroic work, port operations won't be interrupted." Councilman Joe Buscaino, who represents the port area, tweeted, "Great work, LAFD, containing tonight's fire on the Wilmington waterfront. Thankfully, no injuries." The Port of LA was also in a thankful mood, tweeting another round of thanks to our Long Beach neighbors, Port of Long Beach FD, for helping us put out the Berth 177 fire. After 25 years in Lincoln Heights, the district office of Council District 1 has officially moved. Gil Reyes reports from the grand opening of its new location.
Dancing in the streets of Highland Park, people celebrated the kickoff of LA's Latin Jazz Music Festival, also the opening of government offices so close they could walk there.
We haven't had a council office in Highland Park, I don't think ever. So I'm really proud that the office is here, that we can just walk up and ask the questions, talk to who we need to talk to get the issues resolved that we need resolved in our community.
The district office of Council District 1 officially opens at its new location in this former Masonic temple. The 91-year-old building in Highland Park is on the National Registry of Historic Places. The opening took place a year late because of problems with the building's windows. See them on the top left of your screen? Oh, they look great now, restored to their original look, a mosaic of mini glass panels. But here's how the windows looked last year. The miniature squares removed by the owner. This didn't work well for LA's preservation officials, so they ordered the original look back with refurbished windows.
$15,000 to $20,000 of craftsmanship, because we believe in recognizing our traditions and our history, but we also believe in looking forward to a great future.
Some residents in the former Lincoln Heights location are disappointed by the move a few miles north, but area councilman Gil Cedillo says the new office will provide better access and visibility for constituents throughout his district.
Everyone will be represented. Every voice will be heard.
At the new Council District 1 office on Figueroa Street in Highland Park, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
The building, built in 1923, once stood as a lodge for the free and accepted Masons for 60 years. And you just heard mention of Councilman Cedillo's inaugural Latin Jazz Festival. Yana Kay takes us to the event celebrating music and community.
smooth and soulful sounds of Latin jazz fill the air, getting everyone on their feet as they hit the dance floor.
Music, wonderful. Yeah, wonderful.
The music is part of the very first Latin Jazz and Music Festival held at Sycamore Grove Park in Highland Park. The two-day event was put on by Councilmember Gil Cedillo.
This was part of what I talked about in my campaign about creating a community, taking advantage of the fact that in the Northeast it's a very artistic, bohemian community, a lot of talent, and so we wanted to create venues for them, and that's what we're doing.
And more than 14 bands took the opportunity to perform for the crowd and showcase their talents.
This event is fantastic. I mean, really, just to have all these great musicians come together and just perform for a community, it's just something really beautiful to see.
The crowd got to show off some of their own dance talents as they moved to the rhythm and sounds of the music.
I love the Latin music in general, so I'm just here to enjoy the music and enjoy the day and enjoy, a night out with family.
A combination that's hard to beat. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
Jews around the world recently observed Rosh Hashanah, a two-day holiday marking the Jewish New Year. Gil Reyes reports from a special ceremony at LA City Hall.
Blowing of the shofar, or ram's horn, ushers in the year 5775 for the Jewish people. But Rosh Hashanah is also a time to reflect deeply on the past year, a notable one for Jewish West Side Councilman Paul Koretz.
Because I overcame my fear of flying and finally traveled to Israel for the first time.
And that we can come together as a city, as a community, as a nation, to do whatever is necessary to make sure that our country and our community is better than it was the year before.
In case you were counting, at one point the city of LA had 6 Jewish members on the LA City Council. Now it is down to 3. The city's top 3 elected officials, however, do happen to be Jewish. They are, of course, the city controller, the city attorney, and of course the mayor. Quoting from the Old Testament, Northridge area councilman Mitchell Englander reminds fellow Jews to share with the poor. Colleagues say they look forward to the future.
That offers the promise of bringing us closer together, offers the promise of all of us reaching out and lifting up everybody in our city.
We need to make our communities better. We need to make our districts better. We need to make ourselves better.
At City Hall, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Rosh Hashanah is the beginning of 10 days of awe for Jews around the world, leading to Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement. The federal government has given California the green light for the design of its driver licenses for undocumented immigrants. A downtown dog park reopens, and a new exhibit at LAX shines the spotlight on Latinos in Hollywood. These stories and more in City Beat. The Department of Homeland Security has approved the design for the California driver's license for undocumented immigrants. The new design will have the phrase "federal limits apply" on the front of the card in the upper right-hand corner. In response, LA Councilman Gil Cedillo released a statement saying, quote, "I look forward to seeing the California Department of Motor Vehicles implement the new design so that over 1 million motorists in California will make our highways safe and secure." The LAPD continues its efforts to incorporate small libraries within its community police stations with the unveiling of this little free library inside the LAPD Southeast Area Police Station on South 108th Street.
Right now, we have a lot of kids that come here and they just walk in to say hi. We've tried to change the culture of the officers at this station. We've tried to change the relationship between the community and the police.
In its most basic form, little free libraries, which can be located online via a registry, are a place where people can pick up a book or contribute a book, no library cards necessary. The Los Angeles Downtown Arts District Dog Park on 4th Street recently celebrated its grand reopening with a big party. Improvements at the park, also called Saslo Dog Park, include a new mural by a graffiti artist. Councilmember Jose Huizar, who represents downtown, also attended the ribbon cutting.
It's a gift to the neighborhood. We're loving it.
It's definitely nice for them to have a place where they can
meet other dogs in an enclosed space where they're safe.
While the land is being loaned to the community by the city, the park is not operated by the city. Those behind the effort are asking the public to donate to cover operational costs by purchasing stainless steel dog bone plaques, which will feature the name of the donor and a brief message. The Latinos in Hollywood photo exhibit has been unveiled at LAX Terminal 4 in celebration of Latino Heritage Month. As an estimated 14,000 plus travelers move through LAX each day, the exhibit will offer them a glimpse into what Latinos have contributed to LA's entertainment past and present. Included are images of icons of years past, such as Rita Hayworth, Desi Arnaz, and Anthony Quinn, alongside present-day stars Rita Moreno, Hector Elizondo, Eva Longoria, and Zoe Saldana, among others. The CHP is working with senior citizens to help them with their driving skills as they get older. Gil Reyes reports on the Age Well, Drive Smart program hosted by the Office of Councilman Bob Blumenfield.
Go. The test begins for the senior drivers evaluating their reaction time. The goal, to connect as many of these sporadically placed numbers in order using a pen. You have 10 seconds. Connect 10 or more numbers and your reflexes are good. Connect 5 or fewer numbers and you may want to consider handing over the keys.
It makes you like, oh boy, I'm not as good as I thought I was.
The test, part of this Age Well, Drive Smart seminar hosted by CHP senior volunteers. Students receive this free senior driver's manual sanctioned by the CHP. It contains the test and self-assessment questionnaires about confidence at intersections, trouble when making turns, and the like.
We're not coming in saying you can't drive anymore. We're letting them make the decision.
Rules are neither the DMV nor law enforcement can revoke your license based on your age. So it's up to you and your family to decide when's the right time to stop or limit driving. When confronting an aging parent, sensitivity is needed. Patricia Claude likes that she can take the test home and in private.
Because you can do it on your own. You don't have anybody else asking you about it.
The district office of Councilman Bob Blumenfield hosted the seminar, knowing by the year 2020, California will be home to over 4 million drivers age 65 or older.
As I get up there, I'm actually thinking about what we need to be safe drivers. So we just thought it was a great opportunity for our surrounding neighbors to use this great site we have here.
The best way to receive one of these informative booklets is to book an Age Well Drive Smart Symposium at your local church or other organization. You can do that best by contacting the number at the bottom of your screen, 1-818-888-0980, extension 225. In Reseda, Gil Reyes for LA This Week.
Despite well-placed concern for elderly drivers, studies show seniors are actually responsible for fewer accidents than teenagers and drunk drivers. An eclectic art gathering in Elysian Park had everything you could possibly ask for. Oil paintings, hula hoops, and the LA River were all on the agenda for the 9th annual Frogtown Art Walk. Anna Marcos takes us there.
The name is as whimsical as the art event itself. The Frogtown Art Walk celebrated its 9th annual show, and what a setting! Right along the LA River at Elysian Park. Among the star attractions, this new installation of kinetic art. Yep, art that moves.
I've been involved since the very beginning when I was on staff of the 13th District before I was elected, and I've seen it grow from just a few street segments late at night to this, an event that starts at about 5 o'clock and runs into the wee hours, and it involves the entire community now, not just the artists who live here.
The artists and artisans of this art community opened their studios and pop-up galleries to any and all visitors for free. There was even a chalk walk for those called to express the artist in all of us. And a little kinetic moving art never hurts either. Hula hoop, anyone? Music, multimedia performances, art, poetry, nature, and lots of people to share it with. All in all, a perfect summer night. I'm Anna Marcos for LA This Week.
In this week's list of things to do, kids learning to make their own puppets, cleaning up the beach, and a public star party. It's not your typical arts and crafts class. On Saturday, October 4th from 2 to 4 p.m., the Puppet School at 13440 Ventura Boulevard, Suite 108 in Sherman Oaks will hold a 2-hour workshop teaching kids step-by-step how to trace, cut, hot glue, and decorate their own puppets, all under the supervision of talented and friendly builders. Parents are invited to the last 30 minutes to watch your kids perform with their new friends. The class is designed for kids ages 5 to 11 years old. For more information, go to puppetschool.com. On the first Saturday of each month, and in October that falls on October 4th, join Cabrillo Marine Aquarium educators and volunteers from 8 to 10 a.m. as they maintain the Cabrillo Native Garden and learn about its plant and animal inhabitants. Also join other volunteers in a beach cleanup clearing the shore of marine debris. Groups are required to make reservations by the Thursday before the event. The aquarium is located at 3720 Stephen M. White Drive in San Pedro. Go to CabrilloMarineAquarium.org for details. Seeing stars isn't difficult in Los Angeles, especially if you're talking about the kind that's up in the sky. The Griffith Observatory hosts free public star parties monthly from 2 to 9:45 p.m. with the assistance of volunteers from the Los Angeles Astronomical Society, the Los Angeles Sidewalk Astronomers, and the Planetary Society. The next star party will take place on Saturday, October 4th. The parties are a chance for the whole family to look at the sun, moon, visible planets, and other objects, to try out a variety of telescopes, and to talk to knowledgeable amateur astronomers about the sky and their equipment. The Griffith Observatory is located at 2800 East Observatory Road. Go to griffithobservatory.org for details. And that's a look at some upcoming things to do. Things are starting to cool down a bit now, but during the recent 3-digit heat wave, visitors and the animals themselves got a chance to stay cool at the zoo. Yana Kay reports.
Visitors to the LA Zoo are barely visible as they are drenched by this powerful stream of mist. This cool zone is just one of many chill-out spots located at the zoo to help visitors beat the heat.
It's a great idea. Javier is enjoying them very much. He loves the mist.
The misters are all part of the annual It's Cool at the Zoo event, giving visitors and animals a chance to cool off as temperatures hover above 100 degrees. Families enjoyed all sorts of activities. Kids got up close and personal with ice sculptures almost as big as they were. And for parents as well as the kids, it was certainly a favorite chill-out spot. Visitors also got to check out cool ice carving demonstrations. And the animals were not left out in the cold as they enjoyed frozen treats in the form of giant popsicles filled with their favorite foods. And with these misters at every turn, it certainly was cool at the zoo. I'm Yana Kay for LA This Week.
That's going to do it for this edition. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ellen Chang. A reminder that you could catch us online at lacityview.org. You can also follow and like us on Facebook. We'll see you back here next week for more of LA This Week.